It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Some stores are watching this Wednesday, October 15. The so-called king and queen of contractors, Curly and Sala Diskaya, will no longer cooperate with the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, or the ICI. That's as the ICI continues its probe into alleged anomalies in government flood control projects. ICI Director Brian Keith Osaka confirms that the couple invoked their right against self-incrimination during today's hearing. The husband and wife reportedly decided on this after former Public Works Secretary Rogelio Singson expressed doubts about allowing any implicated individuals to become state witness. Singson is a member of the ICI.
Speaking of the ICI, it has asked the Department of Justice to issue an immigration lookout bulletin order against 19 individuals linked to the ongoing flood control investigation. Among those in the new requests are former Representative Mary Mitzi Mitch Kahayan Oy, Art Atayde, and 4 DPWH district engineers. The move follows an earlier order targeting 33 officials, which included former Speaker Martin Romualdez and resigned Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldi Ko.
President Bongbong Marcos and VP Sara Duterte both saw declines in their trust ratings in September, according to the latest SWS survey. Marcos's trust rating dropped 5 points to 43%, while Duterte's fell 8 points to 53%, the sharpest drop in her numbers this year. The survey was conducted from September 24 to September 30 among 1,500 respondents nationwide.
And the International Criminal Court has disqualified Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan from handling the Crimes Against Humanity case against former President Rodrigo Duterte. The ICI cited a potential conflict of interest in its decision. Recall that Duterte's defense team asked for Khan's disqualification over his prior communication with victims of the Duterte drug war. Meantime, Vice President Sara Duterte shrugged off Khan's disqualification from her father's case. She said the issue would not affect the former president's standing nor the country's position regarding the ICC investigation. Duterte also clarified that she will not appeal to President Bongbong Marcos to intervene in the matter. The vice president said it's a personal and legal issue that does not require Malacanang's involvement. The Hague court had dismissed Digong Duterte's bid for an interim release.
Hindi ko kakasapin si BBM para kay dating Pangulong Duterte dahil ang sa akin is yung ginawa nila, government kidnapping ng isang Pilipino sa loob ng ating bansa. Inaprubahan niya na hindi niya dapat ginawa bilang isang Pangulo.
Okay, and joining us today from the Philippine Star. Mukhang wala pa si Tito Ronald, no? Ronald is not yet on Zoom, but he'll be joining us later. But from the Philippine Star, we have Editor-in-Chief Ami Pamintuan.
Will be joining us later,
Hi.
hopefully.
Everybody, happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, Ami.
Wednesday na.
Wednesday night, it's midweek. So it's what you call a
Yeah,
hump day.
midweek.
Everything leads to the weekend. O, di ba?
Feels like so many things have already happened. And on that note, we don't have a whole lot of time for banter today kasi we have 2 guests, so let's get right to it. First up, we have the honor of speaking to the new Ombudsman, Jesus Crispin Boy Remulla. I was about to say Secretary, but can I still call you Secretary? Ombudsman Remulla, welcome to the show.
Hi,
I'm not used to
Ombudsman.
it yet, I'm not used to my title yet.
Oh,
so
my.
Nakasanayan, sir.
I don't know really what people should call
Ombudsman.
me.
Ombudsman.
Ombudsman na lang. Congratulations,
Ombudsman na lang.
Well, it's really a job for the next 7 years. So that's really
Yes, sir. Well, dami kaming talong, sir. Ano,
Okay.
saan tayo magsisimula? Sa Parolios, ha?
Let's start with the...
I don't see,
Huh?
I don't see the others on the screen. I only see Ami.
Okay.
Well, we're here. I don't know.
Can you
Ano
see,
po yan?
can you see us now?
Yeah. Now I see. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Let's,
okay.
sabi ni Ed kanina, maraming gustong pag-uusapan, which is true. But let's start with the breaking news this afternoon. The contractors Curly and Sara Diskaya deciding that they will no longer cooperate with the investigation. And at the press conference that ICI spokesperson Attorney Hosaka just conducted, sabi daw ng the couple said, the camp said that it's over the issue of them being declared state witnesses. Apparently, they took issue with an interview that Commissioner Singson gave,
Singson,
in which he had opined that no one is qualified to be state witness at this point. You know, I mean, of course, you're now the ombudsman, but you've just left the DOJ. Where did you leave the discussion ba? Ano binili niyo, sir?
Tungkol kaya sa Diskaya?
And tungkol sa anyone and regarding the state witness issue in this whole investigation?
Kasi ang state witness law kasi never anticipated this massive amount of crimes committed by one person or by a group of persons so that they can be, kasi ang ina-anticipate ng ating state witness as in the rules of court, isang tao kasama sa krimen at siya ang magsasabi, kung di siya magsasabi, hindi matutuloy ang kaso, hindi kayang patunayan. Eh dito kasi, hindi lang isang krimen to, libo-libong krimen ang pinag-uusapan. Yung may tao dito, sangkot sa mahigit 100 krimen, eh, paano pwede ba kami magbigay ng blanket immunity? Yan ang pinag-uusapan namin sa DOJ noong panahon na yun. Kaya, hindi talaga, sinabihan din talaga sila that they may have to suffer jail time kahit na paano. Kasi, yun talaga ang hirap ng kasong ginawa nila at ang dami nilang participation sa iba't ibang pangyayari dito sa mga krimen na iniimbestigahan.
Also, it was made clear to them that there was no promise made to them that they could become state witness if they cooperated, basically.
No, they were under evaluation. It was clear to them that they were under evaluation. In fact, nag-walk out sila, no, sinabihan nga sila that they may suffer jail time. They stopped cooperating already last week. Yun ang pagkakaalam ko. The next meeting, I was told that, ito lang, the last few days, that this guy has called in sick. So, obviously, parang ayaw na nila talaga. Ayaw na nila.
Pero sir, given the parameters
Pero
you just said,
Secretary, hindi ba? Yung sa
go ahead.
ICI, we understand, finorward na sa inyo yung mga binigay sa kanila nila Diskaya, hindi ba? And sinabi ng lawyer, it was a tell-all testimony. Nasa ombudsman na ba yun? Kasi kung nasa inyo na, ano pang
Hindi ako
kailangan?
sigurado, pero parang wala pa. Parang wala pa. Hindi ko pa na-examine yung mga pinadala sa amin ng ICI. Kasi, sa pagkakaalam ko, ang meron na kami, yung pinadala ni Vince Dizon, tsaka yung binigay ng DOJ. Yung sa ICI, I was just going to break ice there as ombudsman. Kasi, nanggaling ako doon a few days ago, maybe 10 days ago. Nanggaling na ako sa ICI to cooperate with them and to as DOJ secretary. And in fact, yung ibang staff na dumating sa kanila is through the help of the DOJ. And of course, we coursed it through the presidential management staff para mabigyan pa sila ng iba pang lawyers na tutulong sa kanila.
Pero sir,
Saka yung sa DOJ, di ba? Dagdag lang yung we understand na ang isang sa mga condition sa kanila, if they were planning to turn state witness, yung restitution. Did they
yes,
ever
of course.
seriously consider it? Pumayag ba sila doon?
Hindi kasi ako nakausap na nila. I will have to be debriefed again. I will call on the DOJ officials who interviewed them. Kasi I only talked to them initially. Kasi hindi ko naman kayang ako lahat, di ba? So I delegate the work to people who I trust. And I can find out. Pero talagang they were not in a tell-all mood. Yun ang isang problema. Yun ang isang problema na nakita ko simulat sa poll. Parang hindi sila tell-all mood. They wanted to spare a lot of people and just choose what they wanted to say. Kaya medyo nagka-doubt talaga ako dyan. Kaya kasi sinasabi ko talaga, evaluation muna. Hindi naman pwedeng papangakuan mo na magiging state witness ng tao. Wala ho yan sa position DOJ Secretary. No, not even the Ombudsman. The Ombudsman can give immunity. Pero, syempre, within reasonable bounds. Hindi naman pwedeng isasalbang mo yung tao kahit sobrang dami na kasalanan na hindi naman nanagot. Hindi ho pwede yun.
Ombudsman, sorry, can I just follow up on what you said? When you said that you got the sense that they wanted to spare some people, hindi talaga siya tell-all, I heard that they were being asked about Senator Bongo's involvement as well as his connections to CLTG builders. Is that true?
Yes, that is what part of the discussion that happened also. Kasi nga, when you look at their track record, they started becoming big in 2016-17. after the joint venture with CLTG. At least that's what I remember. Sa pag-aaral ko, sa cursory reading ko ng notes about them before I talk to them.
So given the parameters that you mentioned a while ago, at least the variables that you mentioned a while ago, na you're not looking at one crime, possibly hundreds of crimes across the board all over the country. So mahirap magbigay ng blanket immunity.
Mahirap. Example dyan, Tony, Tony, Ed, no? Ed,
sir.
ang problema dyan, kagaya niyan, yung bid rigging. Di ba lumabas na talaga sa hearings ng Senate na wala na talagang bidding. Moro-moro na lang, bid rigging. Diba? The hundreds of crimes na yan, doon pa lang. Thousands pa. Thousands of crimes we're talking about here. Kaya nga, marami pang iba yan. Merong bribery, merong dyan malversation. Iba-ibang crimes na involved dito. Plunder. Kung ibibigay mo ng blanket immunity, baka naman lahat ng tao sabihin, blanket immunity, di wala na mangyayari dito.
Yes, sir. But given that nga, would anybody qualify at all for state witness, considering na you're
It's
looking
possible.
at hundreds?
Basta necessary talaga yung testimony nila to be able to convict people for the crimes that we are charging. It's possible. Nothing is impossible here. But the people who were asking for it, parang imposible rin. It's very hard. It's very hard to make a judgment immediately. Kasi nga, massive nga, hindi pa nga, undiscovered pa nga yung ibang crimes eh. How can you give them blanket immunity when some of the crimes have not yet come to fore? Siyempre, hindi ko pa nakikita yung tax evasion angle. Marami pa akong tinitingnan dyan para bago ma-evaluate yan, dapat alam natin yung universe of crimes involved dito.
So what do you suggest if you were to tell the disguise what they should or should not do, or what they or whether they should cooperate? What would you tell them?
Meron niyang history sa Office of the Ombudsman. I don't know if people will agree with. Yung kay the biggest restitution ever received by government is by General Garcia in that crime where he pleaded guilty to the charge. He returned 300 million and then time served na lang, then he was released. Yun ang naalala ko na biggest restitution. Dito kasi yung restitution na sinasabi natin dito, billions to eh. We still have to look at the real cost to the people eh. Cost to the government and cost to the people of the Philippines. Kasi taxpayers' money went everywhere except the project, di ba? Or many of them substandard pa. Pero for the ghost itself, talagang zero talaga. Talagang falsification at malversation. Yun na malinaw na malinaw.
So at this point, Ombudsman, pwede na naming sabihin, ruled out na sila as state witness. I understand yung korte mag-a-approve niya, no? Pero i-endorse niya eh. Pwede na namin sabihin, hindi sila pwede.
We can say that unless they tell all and that it really makes everything clear, pwede yan. Kaya lang, hindi nga tell all mode eh. I think they're mahirap na magsalita. Pero iba silang kausap talaga. Iba silang kausap.
What is your best sense, sir, of why they're, in your words, sparing some people? Is it out of fear? Is it out of political calculation? Ano yung element dito
Maybe
that's holding them back?
out of political calculation. Wala pa silang nararamdaman fear. I don't see fear in their faces. Para silang parang sinasabi nila, balang araw makakawalan din ako, kaya hindi ko kailangan sabihin lahat. Basta parang gano'n. Parang, Diba, ibang kausap yan. You have to be very careful about everything you say. Kasi they have a history of taping every conversation and doing things that very hard to call good faith.
That's interesting to hear kasi in the public hearings, they make it out like they were just victims of this whole syndicate, right? They make it out like, we were just forced to pay the bribes kasi otherwise we wouldn't get any projects. Pero yung sinasabi niyo, sir, is parang medyo baliktad. They're a lot more calculating and cunning than we realize. Is that correct?
Sobrang ika nga sa Tagalog, matinik tsaka madulas. At ayaw umamin. Talagang lahat ay gagawin para malagyan ng balakid yung pagpasok mo sa katotohanan. Yun lang nahalata namin. Kasi nga, may mga, as SOJ yan, tinanong ko sa kanila yung CLTG. Ang sinabi sa akin, never nila nakilala yung Christopher Lawrence Bongo na CLTG, si Christopher Lawrence Tesoro Go. That's the initials of the person, the senator in the company that dealt with them. They never met him. Looking at their record, na puro selfie sila at puro picture sila with everybody they meet. You think it's possible?
Okay, ano move on?
Hindi, ombudsman. Nabanggit nyo na rin napakarami. Isang mag-asawa lang yan
Walong
We're now
kontrata yun.
we're now seeing all these cases emerging sa iba pang infrastructure, schools, hospitals, farm to market.
Yes. Oh.
Paano, hindi yan makakaya ombudsman ng ICI? Mag-initiate ba kayo? Motu
Ang
proprio?
infrastructure problems kasi natin, patong-patong yan. Yung sa abuse of budget, nakita na natin kung paano pinagdaroan yung budget. Rock netting, hindi yan flood control, pero malaki skandalo.
Yes.
And something that I've been looking at also. Conflict of interest ang isang pinakamabigat na pinapasok natin dyan. Kaya, ano nga yan iyan ang theory of the case ang una namin binubuo bago kaming pumasok para gumawa ng strategy for every person na dapat inquire into at matanong, masapina para sa mga krimen na pwedeng nangyari. Diba, conflict of interest is one of the biggest things, and that's one of the cases that's so apparent in the House. Sobrang laki nga sa House of Representatives at sa COA, yung nangyari sa COA. At marami pang ibang conflict of interest stories dyan na kinakailangan talaga ma-unravel natin para tumigil na. Kasi pag hindi natin nagawa ito ngayon, hindi na natin magagawa ito. Magiging habit na yan. Na parang pababayaan mo na lang yung kalyo kasi kalyo na. Ganun minsan ang pakiramdam ng tao. Hindi dapat ganun.
Yes, sir. Pero sir, at the same
So,
time,
imomoto proprio nyo yun. Yun lang naman inaano ko. Imomoto proprio nyo. Kasi hindi kaya ng ICI
Oh yes,
You are
marami kami
initiating on your own.
dito. Kahit walang complaint, titirahin namin. Yun nga nagbubuo pa ako ng team. Tsaka yung process flow nga ng Office of the Ombudsman, kailangan gandahan. Kasi, kagaya nung nangyari sa Farmally, 3 beses nagbuo ng panel Pinalitan yung panel nung sa gitna ng investigation, pinalitan yung panel, pinalitan na naman yung panel. 2021 o 2021 halos tapos na yung investigation ng Farmally. Marami ng record ng Office of the Ombudsman. 2025 final. October na. So 3.5 years bago final. That's the longest preliminary investigation you can imagine. Sa DOJ, 60 days lang ang aming PI. 60 days. Pero dito kasi may fact-finding na kasama. Yung mga graph investigator ang law enforcement officials, tapos merong evaluation muna, fact-finding, tapos merong preliminary investigation. Pag ito tatagal ng 3 taon, mapapanis talaga ang kaso. Napakahirap namang ispilingin yan pag 3 taon na nakakaraan. Baka ubos na yung mga state. Yan ang problema dyan.
yes, sir. Pero sir, ang hinanap sa mga tao, of course, they're looking for blood of the contractors involved, but they're also looking more than that for justice as far as government officials are concerned, and which is, of course, the bigger, the more primary concern of the ombudsman. People who are in office, people who are in power, for example, members of Congress or the Senate, down the line. So maliban po sa pag-file mga kaso against contractors, ano po ang status dun sa pagsasampa ng mga kaso against people in the legislature who, not just with conflict of interest, because kasi conflict of interest parang 6713 lang yan more than that is...
Hindi, you cannot say that anymore. Kasi dito, you have people who were holding major positions in the House, who became contractors themselves.
Yes, sir.
In their own districts. Kaya, iba na to. Iba na usapan to. Wala na talagang delikadesa. Delikadesa flew off the window.
Yes, sir.
Diba?
Yes, sir.
So you can say it's so simple. We have to get the modus operandi. We have to get the list of contracts. We have to rebuild all the data for us to be able to lay down a proper case. We have to gather the evidence. Pero andyan talaga. You're talking about billions now. Hindi na siya mere conflict of interest. You're talking about billions being lost by government to conflict of interest.
But I guess what you're saying is mababaw lang yung conflict of interest charge. We
Yes,
want to
sir.
see
Yes, sir.
plunder.
yan.
We want to see
Malversation.
malversation.
It's possible to be plunder, Ami. Possible yan. But it really depends on the evidence. Kung malversation, kung conflict of interest, whatever it takes, whatever legal provision is needed to convict people, we will do it.
Can this
Oh.
case
If we have to get them by tax evasion, we will get them by tax evasion, but we will do it.
but can this investigation succeed? Meaning may mapaprosecute, may makukulong
Meron.
without the
Meron.
testimony, without the cooperation of the Discayas, who seem to be at the center of it all. Kasi sila yung
We can do it without them, and we can bring them to court very soon on our own accord without their testimony. And just looking at the AMLA records, pwede na namin sila i-demanda.
Okay.
Sir, you're
Okay,
talking about the
Ombudsman.
legislators, sir, or the Discayas? Who are you talking about bringing them to court immediately?
Yan, that is kayas. Kasi nga,
Okay.
tinatanong nyo kung kayang i-charge pag di sila cooperate. Kaya. Kaya naman.
Hindi, pero yung buong kaso, mabubuo ba siya, sir, if kahit walang cooperation ng
Segment by
Discaya?
segment, ang mahalaga is we're able to get them for something so big that we will be able to recover a lot of money from them for the government. Yun talaga yung aim natin dito, yung restitution and retribution. Dalawa yan eh. Hindi lang naman yung restitution lang yan. Yung retribution paano? Wala na? Wala na. Pag sinuli ang pera? Hindi.
Sir, the other question on everybody's mind is Zaldico. I mean, he's still out in the wind. We don't know where he is. What's our position as far as he is concerned? Ano man pwedeng ihabol sa kanya at this particular point? Is there anything substantial already that can be filed against him for any violation at all?
Meron. From the testimony of Alcantara, meron na siyang direct dealing with Saldico. So it can happen already.
No. How far are you?
Sa pag ganun, pwede ipa-cancel yung passport na niya kapag meron ng
Possible na. Pagka may kaso na, pag nakasampa na yung kaso, yun ang batas natin eh. We cannot cancel passports without proper purpose dapat.
Yes, sir. I think that's what people are waiting for. Kailan magsasampa ng kaso? Kasi medyo matagal na rin, several weeks already since he left the country. Actually,
Since
months.
he responded to Congress, to the House, the new House Speaker, saying
Ang
that he
maganda
will
lang
not
kasi
be
dito, I
coming back.
started working on this as DOJ. And I'm on my third day now in the Ombudsman's office. And it can be done. There's a continuity naman sa investigation nito. And imagine it only happened because of the conflict because of the issue of protected witnesses that arose from the Senate hearings. Kaya kami na-involved dyan. Of course, the President also instructed us later on to start investigating, to help investigate this mess. Because at that time, the Ombudsman's office was not yet moving or could not really be spoken to about this matter. And when I asked them about their output when I arrived, parang halos wala pa.
Sa kapag may case na sa kanya, ombudsman, pwede na siyang, you can ask for help na from Interpol, ano?
Of course.
Or do you
of
have to
course.
wait for an arrest warrant?
Of course, we need that. Blue notice pwede na eh. May blue
Blue
notice
notice.
is
May blue
actually within the community, nag-uusap-usap na yan. Pero ang red notice talaga ang kinakailangan para pwede natin arrest.
Are you?
Cambio lang akong konti, ombudsman,
wait,
kasi
sorry,
pinag-uusapan
Ami.
yung SALN ngayon eh.
Wait, Ami, sorry, close ko lang yung...
Linawin ko lang.
Ami, sorry, close ko lang yung conversation about Zaldico.
Ano yan? Yeah.
Nakalimutan ko tuloy what I was gonna ask.
Ako,
Are you
tanong
at
ko kailan
liberty, sir, are you at liberty to tell us ano po yung kaso that you're looking at against former Congressman Ko?
Malversation.
Malversation.
Plain
Okay.
and simple, yeah.
Based solely on Engineer Alcantara's testimony? Or you have other evidence?
So far. But that's why we have to strengthen it more. Mahirap mag-file ng kasong mahina. Yun ang nagiging problema lagi sa prosecution ng cases sa ating bansa. Dati, sa probable cause, we end up with a lot of weak cases. We really have to raise the bar of evidence and really work better with the evidence that has to be laid out in court so that you can have a continuous trial and rest your case. Yun naman ang pinakamahalaga na dapat mangyari ngayon. Na meron naman provisions ng law that allow it, meron tayong rules of court that allow it, we have the Supreme Court issuances that allow continuous trial, but the government hardly went to that recourse because the evidence gathering was not very thorough at that time. So ngayon, I think that we are about to embark on a new era in prosecution. Yun talaga ang kinakailangan gawin niya.
Okay.
Do we have a timetable, sir,
Yung
for
continuing
Zaldico's
trial,
case?
Ombudsman, nabanggit niyo yung continuing trial. Ano yung pinaka-short that we can expect? Kasi yun yung minamadali ng mga tao eh.
Sa flood control cases, presentation of prosecution evidence, probably 5 to 7 court hearing dates. Tapos na yun. And then, pagka-continuous trial yan, isang buwan, tapos yan. Pag walang pinayagang postponement ng court.
Sir, but
Basta
Or iba yung special court?
warrant of arrest, initial hearing yan. From there, hopefully, pag nakita nila yung urgency, isang buwan is of course very, very, it can be logical, it's very hopeful, but it may be a little more than that. It's really doable, Ami. It's doable.
but sir, do we have a
doable
timetable
1 year.
for...
1 year sigurado.
Sigurado yun, sigurado. Hindi abot na isang taon yan kung talagang hindi papayag ang korte sa dilatory tactics. Kasi dilatory tactics ang lagi natin problema eh. That's what lawyers get paid for. How to delay the case. Then later on, mapapanis yung kaso, sasabihin, inordinate delay, kaya deprive of due process. Yun ang ayaw natin mangyari.
But sir, do we have a timetable for Zaldico, for the filing of the case
mahaba
against
na yun.
Zaldico?
For the time of filing, mahaba na yun.
Yes, sir.
1 year.
Kaya.
Secretary, medyo na late.
Ikambyo ko
Sorry,
na dun
Ed.
sa, sa SALN. Kasi nilinawin ko lang yung order mo, Ombudsman, sa SALN. Does it cover the constitutional bodies?
Ano yan eh, we will have to rethink that if we can cover the different branches of government. But I think we can. Kasi ang nakasanayan kasi ng Ombudsman's Office, yan ang amin nilabas.
Yes.
We reviewed all the SALN filings, all the SALN rules for the past for the last six administrations in the Ombudsman. Yun ang nireview namin. But we will rethink it. I think that it might be better if we get the constitutional bodies to agree with us. The House, the Senate.
Yes.
But ang pinakamahirap kasi syempre the courts.
Judiciary.
That's one of the things that can be a problem. But I will have a dialogue with them. I will have dialogue with them.
Pero sir, you are not a custodian, sir. But the Ombudsman is not a custodian of all these other SALNs of the other bodies.
We're not. Hindi nakasanayan. But if they will allow us, they will entrust us, why not, di ba? Yun naman yun eh. Dapat talaga lahat yan theoretically. Theoretically
Pero
lahat.
hindi ba nasa batas yun? Nandun sa Code of Conduct? Dapat sa Ombudsman?
Dapat kasama lahat. Dapat kasama lahat. Kaya lang siyempre, theory and practice do not always jive. And we have to force the issue somehow when it comes to many of these.
Yes,
Kasi
sir.
kagaya yan,
Yes, sir. Pero sir,
the local courts, I will not blame them, always want to just work within themselves. Yan po yung naging habit ng courts talaga.
sir, pero sir, doon sa memorandum
Even
number 3,
charging them in court, investigating them, medyo sensitive pa rin ang courts dyan. So we will what you call this, break it in para ma-realize naman na sometimes they might need the Ombudsman's Office to help them discipline their ranks.
Well, sir, of course, yung memorandum number 3 is a good thing for a lot of people, especially for the media. But at the same time, there's a particular provision in memorandum number 3, yung sa SALN memorandum, which also raises some questions. That's the requirement for the media organizations to make submissions to the Ombudsman of their publications using the SALN.
And you know why I put that? Para magamit namin yung information. Kasi sayang maglalabas ka na niya sa dami ng ginagawa ng opisina. Pag hindi namin naging automatic yan, maghahagirap pa kami. Tapos maraming woke na kapatid natin sa industriya na ayaw mag-cooperate. Kahit sabihan mo, hindi lagay na natin doon, ibibigay nila sa amin yung articles. Kasi kukuha din kami ng clues doon eh. Ayaw niyo bang umakto kami based on your investigation?
Well,
Diba?
sir,
Isn't
of
that
course.
reasonable na ibibigay niyo sa amin yung output niyo? Kasi pareho naman ang gusto natin.
Yes,
Ilabas ang katotohanan. Hindi ba tama yan, Ami?
Yes, sir, that's
Tama
true, sir.
yun.
Pero sir, at the same time, isn't that compelled speech that you cannot
No,
force
it's not. It's
expression
responsible
anymore than you can
behavior.
forbidden
Yeah.
expression?
It's responsible behavior. Yun lang naman ang hinihingi natin eh. If you want it, you're responsible, bigyan nyo rin sa amin para pwede namin trabahuin. Is that asking too much? Is
Sir,
it asking too much? Tell me. Can I not get your output of your investigation so that I can use it for my investigation? Or you just want it to be able to say something bad about government no matter who is ruling?
well, sir, that's
Diba?
No,
not the way.
sir.
I don't think that's the way. Sir,
Give me your output.
yes, sir.
Diba?
Sir, let me put it this way, sir. For example, when we were with the PCI, when I was with the PCIJ, the PCIJ would request all the SALNs every year of all the officials that it can request from. Hindi lahat po yun nagagawa ng storya kasi syempre, you look at that time series data eh. So,
Hindi, output na nga eh. Ede, pag na-publish na, pag talagang thorough na yung research mo, bigay mo sa amin. Pag hindi mo naman mapapublish, pero meron ko pa rin research na pwedeng magamit namin, bigay nyo sa amin. Kasi hindi naman kami, hindi kami weatherproof eh. Meron kami talagang weaknesses din na kinakailangan namin ng konting nudge.
No,
Parang information, mas madali natin makuha, di ba?
But also, sir, that's easier if you're a digital or print outlet. What about for us broadcast? It's harder kasi kunyari, I'm an anchor. I don't produce
Mahirap sa
packages.
broadcast kasi.
I need it for my own personal information for
Yeah.
when we're talking here. Hindi naman siya one single story. You know what I mean? It informs my reporting. Pero,
And then give me a copy of the broadcast so we can study everything. O kahit na transcript lang. So we know if there's something new that we have to look at so we can make our work better. Yun lang naman ang intent nun. Wala naman ibang intent dyan eh. We just want to know how this worked when we gave the SALN and how it was researched and the output of the research so we can act on the matter. If we have to charge people for graft because of the leads we got from that article, so di ba? Di ba maganda yun? Or people just want to be obstinate and go against government no matter what. Hindi naman siguro ganun, di ba?
I don't think that's the case, sir.
May-
I mean,
madali kasi sa amin eh.
Hindi nga dapat eh.
Madali sa amin, medyo mahirap sa broadcast eh.
oh,
Hindi kahit ano lang. We will monitor it. And, do you mind if we ask you questions after? Kasi kailangan namin yan eh. Why aren't we people willing to cooperate? Ang hiningi ko lang naman cooperation para magtulong tayo. Crowdsourcing nga, inaano na namin
Right.
yung rules para sa crowdsourcing. Gagawin na namin talaga para sa lifestyle check. Ayaw nyo ba nun?
well,
Diba?
sir,
You just have to maybe learn to trust government again or learn to trust the Ombudsman's office
but
again.
trust has to be earned, sir. Public office is a public
Well,
trust, yes. It has to be earned, though. And the
If
first
it's
step
be
to that
earned,
is
what if I earn
releasing
it after
the
6
SALNs?
years and 9 months? Di wala na mangyayari. Di ba? Kasi that's a standard that is not even objective. It is a subjective standard.
well, sir, just to be clear, sir Bale, what you're saying is only upon publication or use, yun doon kailangan mag-submit yung
Yes,
media agency.
kasi we need the output eh. We need that.
There's nothing
lang
to
lumabas.
compel. There's nothing
Meron
to
ba kami
compel the
binigay na
outfit
penalty?
to release any
Wala
story.
naman kami nilagay na penalty rin.
Ah.
Well,
Wala
sir,
naman. Kaya lang, sinasabi nga namin, may urgency yan. Hindi nyo pagtitripan yan, tapos bahala kayo sa trip nyo, walang pasagan ng trip. Hindi po ganun yan. It's responsible government, it's responsible. We have to be responsible for the information that we get, di ba?
Yeah. Okay, we know you have to run to another appointment, sir, pero if I can just squeeze in very, very quick lang. So you basically reversed the memo of your predecessor. Does that mean we can go and request SALNs as far back as 2016?
It's possible. It's possible. We
Sir,
will look
naman-
at the files.
yes, sir, no lang
Hindi
yan.
natin alam kung anong files na nandun. On my third day, maybe by the end of this month, I'll know what's there.
Yeah.
Kasi nga, we have to shock them into action eh. Iba ang kultura at
But-
structure ng Office of the Ombudsman that we have to improve
Yeah.
talaga.
I mean, I think
I really think that we have to tell them that there is that you should have a sense of urgency on the job. Kasi parang hindi ko nakikita yun sa ngayon.
shouldn't the filings be there already? It's just a matter of releasing it.
Eh,
Kasi it's a
andyan yan,
requirement
but
for
I haven't gone deeply into the records yet. Ang ginawa lang namin talaga, in-nation na namin yan. We studied all the rules before. and we try to make it as open as possible. And para naman meron kami feedback mechanism na magagamit naman kung nagamit nyo sa alis na investigation at meron kayong nakita. Sana alam namin yung nakita nyo. Kasi sabihin nyo, ay, hindi nila nakita yan eh. Di ba? There should be some cooperation. Yun lang naman yun.
Ombudsman, kailan nyo naman balak i-release yung SALN ninyo? Kasi sabi nila, you set the example daw.
Pwede i-release at pwede i-request. Pwede yan.
Can I make the
Kailan
request
po?
now?
Yeah.
Pagbalik ko sa opisina.
Okay.
Pagbalik sa opisina, sige, mapo-request ko.
Meron sa field ngayon. Meron lang akong ginagawa sa field.
Sige. Okay.
Pasikit lang isa mo, sir. Sir, if you don't mind. Sir, formally, sir, of course, we had Richard Gordon here as our guest last week, I think, di ba? And he was making a push for including the former president dun sa mga kakasuhan.
And Michael Yang.
Yes, yun yung isa nakita namin eh. Kasi nga, bitin na respondents yun. Isa yung totoo dyan sa family. Wala si Michael Yang. Maraming wala. Kaya we had to get it back.
Yeah.
Kaya kailangan binawi namin yung pwede pa namin bawiin para pwede namin iayos ilatag na maganda yung kaso. Kasi nga, 3 panel nga napalitan eh. For some reason that you can speculate but I will not elucidate. I mean, I do not have the perfect facts with me right now, but the hunch must be there.
Okay. We'll leave that there, but I will make a last public appeal to you to come back on the show kasi marami pa pong dapat pag-usapan. But thank you so much for talking to us today, Ombudsman Remulla.
Okay, salamat. You know,
Thank you,
I wish I
Ombudsman.
could give you a meeting every week, but you know, I have so much undiluted requests for interview, and I have to limit it. Alam niyo na yan.
Understood.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But we appreciate it, sir.
Sige po.
Pwede
Thank
naman every
you.
month.
Thank you.
You are watching Storycon 1 News. I had to try. We just need to take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
We've got developing news and the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao.
And I'm Regina Lay. Still with us, Ami Pamintun of the Philippine Star. And I thought we had drawn on, but he's still...
Wala
Okay,
pa siya.
also joining us this afternoon, we've got journalist Malu Mangahas, co-convener of the Right to Know Right Now Coalition, or R2KRN. Hi, Malu. Good afternoon.
Hi, Malu.
Good afternoon, ladies
Hi, bossing.
and gentlemen.
Kala ni Ed na iwan na siya.
Gentleman ba yan? Sige, gentleman talaga yan.
Kawawa ko yan sa PCIJ eh. Saka si aming kaklase ko mula kinder eh, di ba? Ay, sorry.
Full disclosure.
Okay, so go.
Boss ko simula
Ancient
dati
na
sa
kami,
PCIJ.
ancient.
Oo nga, napakinggan ko yung kwentuhan kay Ombudsman Boying eh. Binasa mo, Ed?
Ayun, so
Share,
you
nabasa na
were
yata
listening.
kompleto eh.
You were listening to
Okay.
the discussion kanina with Boeing about the SALN memorandum. Di ba, the SALNs have always been one of the primary objectives of the Right to Know Right Now coalition and the PCIJ in collecting the SALNs. What do you think of the memorandum na inisyo kahapon, yung memorandum number 3?
I think it's a movement forward slightly, parang konting bukas ng pinto. Pero parang tingin ko pwede pa sanang better yung version ng memorandum. Ang parang okay na, nagkakasundo tayo yung reasonable cost, ang photocopying, at merong parang pagpayag yung redacted, yung apat na info, no? Yung mga anak below 18, address, signature, and ID. Sa tingin ko lang, medyo malabo yung pagkakalatag niya ng exceptions. Meaning SALN disclosure may not be allowed kung mali yung repository o napadalan mong opisina. Wala yung SALN, kaya hindi maibibigay. E di kung wala, di dapat usigin yung government official na hindi nag-file, di ba? Meron kang malicious intent or may mischief sa iyong pagpa-file, fictitious person ka, or may extortion kang gustong anggulo, o may history ka na dati na nabigyan ka ng SALN, medyo palpak yung paggagamit mo. Ang tingin ko lang doon, parang nagbibigay ng excuse for non-disclosure or to avoid disclosure kasi ang nasa EO2, yung FOI in the executive branch as well as mga FOI manuals, as well as itong SALN Law 6713, mandatory yung release tsaka ministerial lang ang trabaho ng mga agencies sa paglalabas ng SALN. Worried ako dun sa sinabi din ninyo kanina pinag-usapan yung bakit ang media kailangan mag-submit ng mga final output. And kanina sabi ni Ombudsman pati research materials I think pwedeng give them the link, di ba? Whether audio, video, or print yan.
Yeah.
Ang problema lang doon is, should we be doing research for government? Kasi di ba dapat meron din silang scan ng mga issue. My worry there is hindi naman siguro magra-rise to the level of good evidence yung nakukuha ng media kasi syempre may secondary source tayo, hindi naman primary palagi. So dun muna. Yung tingin ko lang mga problematic. Isa pang problematic, hindi nalagay o nakalimutan nila yung relatives in government na data. Tapos sa SALN, kung tinignan mo, may business interest and financial connections.
Yeah.
Pero relatives in government would be up to 4th degree of consanguinity and affinity. Hanggang balae, bilas, lolo, lola, pamangkin. Doon kasi pwede mag-establish nung layunin ng SALN na silipin ang conflict of interest, unexplained wealth, ill-gotten wealth, at saka parang corruption, yung using public office for public gain. Pag wala yun, nalapat din sa business interest and financial connections, parang nakalimutan ba ng ombudsman ilagay yung yung relatives
Nasa
in
SALN
government?
filing yata yun, requirement.
Pero sa memo nila,
Nasa
hindi nila
requirement
nilagay.
yun.
Oo nga, nandun dapat yun sa page 2.
Yeah,
Pero
page two.
dapat sana nilagay nila kasi this is a learning moment for all of us.
Hindi yung form yata ng SALN nandun Yung form ng SALN nandun yun.
Oo nga. Pero nilagay kasi nila yung lahat ng iba pang data fields Except sa ngayon, sa panahon ng corruption, di ba sinasabi nga yung mga mag-asawa o may congressman na relative, critical data yon kasi connecting data siya sa iba pa kontrata o negosyo. Yon.
Well, the other thing I think, Malu, that's important to point out is people get the misimpression, I think, na tapos na ang usapan dahil naglabasan ng memorandum ang ombudsman reversing the earlier Martires memorandum. But that's only for the ombudsman, which is a custodian of
The
SALN ng
president.
Constitutional Commission
Executive.
and yung
Executive.
president and vice
Oo.
president.
Well, salary grade 27 o senior level, senior grade public officials and star rank officers. At tapos ang Civil Service Commission doon sa ibang mga local government officials down the line, rank and file. Ang Deputy Ombudsman for Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, governors, mayors, etc. So ibig sabihin, yung ibang repositories, House, Senate, Supreme Court Clerk, Clerk's
Supreme
Court,
Court.
Civil Service Commission, tapos yung apat yung Ombudsman, Central, at saka yung 3 field.
Yeah.
At of course, Office of the President. So, iba-iba siya, pero I think the ruling should apply to all kasi if cases are filed, ombudsman pa rin ang maghahabol sa mga matataas na grado ng pamahalaan.
Pero I suppose yun ang next step I mean, how do you get the Supreme Court, for example, to release SALNs?
Yun ang sinabi nga ni Boying, di ba?
Sa totoo lang, parang naging kalat kasi parang ministerial na nga ang intensyon ng batas Kumbaga, may request, ilabas ninyo. Over the years, and Ed knows this, di ba? Iba-ibang ombudsman, sabi ni Ombudsman Boying, 6 na yan, Nung panahon ni Mercy Gutierrez, actually, nakakakuha lahat tayo ng SALN. Di ba? Yung eksaktong dokumento. Nung panahon ni Justice Conchita Carpio Morales, nakakakuha pa rin tayo, although binaba niya sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Nung panahon ni Ombudsman Martires, talagang naging drought ang paglabas ng SALN. Ang difficulty natin dito, parang iba-iba yung timpla ng mga ombudsman. If you were to ask me, sana kung talagang ang slogan nila ay transparency, ini-stretch na yung pag-celebrate ng karapatan ng mga mamamayan kasi, palagay ko, acid test. Palabasin ng SALN ng Pangulo, ng Pangalawang Pangulo, at ng Ombudsman. Di ba? Para may magandang halimbawa.
Yun na nga, nangako na nga sila Hintay na lang natin mangyari. Alam mo, Malu, ang problema, nauna yung Supreme Court kasi, Unang-una Supreme Court na nagbawal nung SALN Kaya nagsanutan lahat
Dati yung
Kaya
Senate,
hindi natin
bukas na
we have to ask ngayon ang Supreme Court kung willing na sila to lift their own restriction.
Correct. Oo.
Sila yung unang-unang gumawa niyan
Yung ginawa ng Supreme Court, mahigpit na procedures, yung parang tipong ilang ID, kailangan
Alam mo, hindi mo makuha.
Pero ang Senate dati bukas, Ami,
Yeah.
yung actual SALN
Yeah,
ang
I know.
Ang House
Yun
ang
na nga.
pinakagipit, di ba? Yung parang tipong pinakamaramot. Yung numbers,
Pero naglalabas
ano
pa
lang,
rin sila.
pero reaches to poorest. Ang problema doon, the numbers don't tell you much kasi pwedeng magulo lang yung mga tao na yung pinakamayayaman, baka kaduda-duda. Bakit yumaman ng ganyan? Pero hindi naman yun yung sikreto ng SALN Baka pwedeng ma-justify yung net worth na malaki. Na ngayon, nung ginagawa yun ng House at yung Supreme Court, gano'n na rin, tapos yung memo ni Ombudsman Martires, sumunod na rin ng Senate. At ang Malacanang, so parang nagkakawaan na gipitin ng SALN.
Kaya mag-uusap-usap daw sila. Yan ang sabi ni Boying kanina. Kakausapin daw niya yung ibang mga anong yan. Yung mga bodies na yan. Ano magagawa nila?
Kakausapin pa
Tingnan
ibang
natin.
constitutional agencies. Tapos also, possible lang daw for us to ask for yung SALNs as far back as 2016. Pero ang alam ko, dapat na-file na yon, hindi ba? Because it's a
Correct.
constitutional
Oo.
requirement.
Kasi kaya hindi pwedeng reason yun sa exceptions yan dahil the SALN is not available. Ibig sabihin, may problema ko doon sa official na yon. Dapat habulin. May penalty, however, pagka kunyari meron kang misuse or misinformation na binatay sa SALN, pwede kang kasuhan. Ang problema ko, parang ba't sa panig ng mamamayan yung obligasyon na parang, kumbaga, mag-behave kayo, dapat tingnan nyo lang yung nakalagay na data. Kasi, as you would know, the journalist would have to look further, di ba, to verify, validate, and get related documents. So, yun yung parang tansya ko, hindi ganong malinaw na yung diin ng pagrespeto o pagpunyagi sa karapatan ng mamamayan, parang mas matimbang dun sa filers. Under the law, even filers are required to release their own SALN kasi may kopya sila. Hindi nga dapat repository or hindi nga dapat through ombudsman Di ba, Ed?
Kasi isa-isahin mo sila sa house.
Tingin ko,
300 na silang
i-acid
yun.
test natin. Di ba, let's get all the senior government officials to actually be asked to release their SALN. Kung talagang mag-work kasi baka sabihin nila malicious. Ang reading ko, yung nagsasabi na may malicious yung gamit ng media ng SALN, typically sa mga pagkakataong nasilip namin, magkaribal kasi sila na kandidato, hindi naman dahil yung media mayroong intensyong masama. Parang ganon. At may tunay na kaso, katulad nitong flood control controversies. Pagka lumabas yung SALN na relatives in government, business interest, and financial connections, maganda. Yung kaso ng Commission on Audit, ganon. Yung kaso ng Saldico, barangay health workers, ganon. So, merong connects talaga sa politika, kaya yung SALN dapat ilabas yung mga kamag-anak.
Well, I do remember in 2021, si Ombudsman Martires even wanted to impose a 5-year imprisonment on those who would comment.
ikukulong daw.
Who
Pag
would
nag-comment,
make
itong
commentaries on
commentary
SALNs.
natin to, makukulong tayong apat.
Dapat mag-aral tayo magganchilyo, manahin ng mga sinelas, cap, di ba? Para yun ang mga trabaho ng mga tao na kukulong Ami.
Kapag ganito daw, may komentaryo doon sa policy niya, pakukulong tayo ng 5 taon.
Because the law
Hindi, tsaka,
daw...
ako tingin ko, yung dangerous dito is parang, why should we protect too much yung filer when obligation niya yun under the law? Rather than celebrate the learning moment that you give citizens now na aralin tong SALN. At saka talagang tingnan, conflict of interest, unexplained wealth, ill-gotten wealth, and then corruption in general. Pero parang may patumpik-tumpik pa na dapat hindi ka malicious, dapat hindi ka nang extort. But may judgment.
Diba, baka
ka.
naman nilagay niya lang yung, nilagay nila yung na kapag ito ginawa nyo, hahabulin namin kayo.
Pero nga, hindi mo
Parang
pa nga
gano'n yun yung
nakukuha.
basis niya.
Hindi mo pa nga nakukuha after the fact kung sakali madedetermine nila yon, di ba? Hindi ko
Oh,
maintindihan.
yun na, after the fact. After the fact yun.
Kaya nga, pero paano ka, hindi ka makakahingi?
Bakit hindi ka makakahingi?
Yung nakasabi na the SALNs will not be released, will not be exist for on the following conditions or parang exceptions, except when, yun, nakawalo yun, Ami So sabi ko, hindi ba dapat after yun kesa yung before the release? Isa pa yung data privacy, in-invoke nila yon. I think someone mentioned kanina.
Parang warning yun, no?
Warning yon, pero public office is a public trust, di ba, na-mention nyo kanina? Hindi ko alam, sa journalism or even sa public policy review, hindi naman dapat mag-claim ng absolute privacy ang government officials. Di ba? Kasi nga, kaya nga kayo taong gobyerno eh. Pero, meron ding sensitive personal info. Pero hindi lahat private yung data ng public officials. Yun yung medyo tingin ko, general niya na balansin daw ang right to information at right to privacy of data. So, hindi naman lahat. Privacy dapat. Sabi ng National Privacy Commission, hindi dapat subterfuge o panaklong ang SALN kung meron kang ginagawang hindi maayos. Parang ganun.
As you said,
Magulo ba?
naming conditions. As you said, the burden of proof is on us ulit. But we will leave that there. We didn't get a chance to talk to you about the
Oh,
flood
yung co-watch
control.
story niyo eh.
Pero we'll have you back na lang another time. That was Malu
no
mga
problem.
has
Meron pa
co-convened.
kami pang-anim na report namin yun eh. Meron pa kaming tinitingnan ng iba pang kumpanya. And we're drilling down the data to the lowest level, municipal, city, provincial, and then
Yun.
across all infra.
Perfect. We'll have you back to talk about that pag na-publish na. That was Malu Mangahas, co-convener of the Right to Know Right Now Coalition, or R2KRN. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Malu.
And we have clear run out of time for Storycon. Thanks for joining us as well. Ami Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star. Join us again tomorrow, 4 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Ed Lingao. Kapatid, we are one news, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.